Hey guys, Lindsey Hammond here, CPR Realty of Central 21. So today I have a really fun DIY project for you guys. I know how to make countertops look like granite. And my husband did countertops for a long time and they did granite and the real stuff. And he's like, oh, I can tell that's not. But a lot of people that have seen my before and afters are really impressed with my work, and you really cannot tell. And it makes such a difference, especially if you've got laminate or some of the outdated like solid surface that, you don't want to get rid of it and it costs a lot of money to put a new one up. So why not DIY and make it look better? So I want to show you guys, here's a picture of the before and after. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go through my steps of how we did that. So the very first step that I did is I went ahead and I sanded down all of the surface of that countertop. You've got to get sanded down so the paint will stick and everything will look good. All right, next, well, you could have done this beforehand, but pick the colors that you want to do. So I already had a gray theme going, so I did black with specks of silver metallic and gray and then a tiny little hint of white. I thought that was going to give the best look for my design, so that's the colors I went with. So pick the color so you can kind of know the base color that you want to do. You want it to be a flat color. So I went ahead, rolled the entire sink and the backsplash area black. So it was a flat black. Let that dry a full day. And then I had two different things here. I had the individual sponges that you can buy in the bags, and I also had a sponge roller. So I took like my base gray color, the flat gray that I wanted to use, and I rolled that sponge roller and I rolled it up and down over them just to kind of, it gave a little bit of the uniform pattern, but it wasn't enough to look too kind of crazy. So rolled over that, let that dry. Then second, I came in with my sparkle gray. So it was that metallic silver gray. And then I took my sponge and I sponged over that to really give it that design. Then, just to make sure it was just a little bit different, I took a tiny little bit of white and just added a couple little specks here and there just to give it that different kind of look. From there, you can go back with a black and add in on your sponge and sponge over it to give it a little bit of difference. If you make a mistake, if you put a little bit too much color in one spot, you can use that black to go through and uniform everything. So then, once you've got everything taped off, everything's good to go, your paint is dry, now you're gonna put the epoxy on it. And I just went to Home Depot, got some regular epoxy, and you've got to clear the entire room out. Because once this epoxy sets up, you don't want anything touching it. So you don't use the bathroom, you don't let anyone in there to accidentally get on it. Because let me tell you, when I was doing this one, I let it set up and one of my pieces of newspaper that I had against the wall fell down on top of my epoxy. So I had to sand it and start all the way over. It was a nightmare. So be careful with that. I think the newspaper on the walls was a little extra. I don't think I even really needed that, but just make sure everything is completely clear, because if hairs get on it, fuzz, anything, you'll be able to see it. So put the epoxy on. Now what I did, you pour the epoxy, use a paintbrush. This paintbrush you're going to throw away because epoxy is going to ruin it. So just get an old paintbrush. Don't buy a really nice one. Use the paintbrush, smooth out the epoxy. Get on the edge, watch the corners because they will drip and it will get, so definitely put down some covering on the floor, but also watch it and keep a paint on that while it's drying so you don't get little drips forming on the edge. But paint it on there and then let it dry and you're good to go. Now I did let my epoxy dry for 24 hours just to make sure it was good and sealed and I didn't have any issues, but then I just took off all my tape and it was ready to go, and I had this beautiful picture to show you guys what it looked like. It was so nice. I got tons of compliments on it. And then when I resold my house, got a lot more money just from having that master bathroom updated. I also redid the cabinets in there, and I do have a tutorial that'll be down in below for the comments to show you how I did those bathroom cabinets, because I did this whole entire bathroom for only a couple $100s, and it looked totally different, so much better. And the bathrooms, especially the master, is where you get so much of your money from. So check out that comment below. Of course, if you would, give me a like. I appreciate it. And subscribe to my videos so you can see all things DIY and real estate coming up. Now, if you are thinking about selling your home and you're wanting to do some of these renovations to make some, get the most money you can, I also have a link to my free seller's guide. What it is, it gives you everything that I look for as a real estate agent when you're getting ready to sell your house. Just everything to kind of look for, make sure it's ready, and get you guys good and prepared to sell it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions.